Harmony Gold Mining plans to mothball its Kusasa Letu mine on Gauteng's far west strand until an agreement with trade unions is reached. The company hasn't reopened the mine after its close over the Christmas holiday period, following fears of further violence and intimidation among workers. The decision could lead to the sacking of 6,000 employees. The mine's problems mark a rocky start to 2013 for South Africa's mining industry after a year in which it was rattled by violent wildcat strikes that led to the death of over 50 miners. The ANC Secretary-General Gwede Mantashe, meanwhile, says the ANC will increase state intervention without nationalizing companies. He says the ruling party is in favor of partnerships with private companies. He again slammed Anglo-American Platinum's plans to suspend 4 mine shafts and retrench 14,000 workers, saying plans presented by Amplats in 2010 to obtain new mineral rights were being questioned.
They say if companies mothball shafts, it means they are putting them in abeyance. They call it maintenance and care. That means till there is good. Why don't they hand up the license to the state for those who have to put on a public auction for other companies to operate them? That is different from nationalizing. The ANC says in its document it will increase state intervention and ownership in strategic minerals and strategic sectors.
2 inmates have been killed and more than 50 seriously injured during infighting at the St Albans prison outside Port Elizabeth in the Eastern Cape. Police say information is still sketchy. The Police Minister, Nathi Mthethwa, wants to see more training given to officers and an improvement in service delivery. He addressed reporters at the start of a police management meeting in Boksburg on Gauteng's East Rand.
There has to be service delivery, which is seen to be caring. A police station in its nature is not a tourist destination. Nobody will walk into a police station because he or she wants to tour. It means there is a problem that particular individual is faced with and therefore want assistance and help. So we will be particular about those.
The rand continues to weaken against major currencies, undermined by negative sentiment from persistent labour unrest. Thousands of farm workers in the country's fruit-growing belt are still striking at the Durrans in the Western Cape, despite calls by unions to suspend the labour action for 1 week. Murafe Tabane reports.
The currency is weaker despite the strengthening of the euro. The local unit often tracks the euro, the currency of the eurozone, which is South Africa's major trading bloc. Investors say this gives an indication that the underlying sentiment towards the currency is negative, as the fundamentals pose a risk to further weakness on the rand. Investors sold bonds on the back of the rand's depreciation, causing further weakness. Morafe Tabani, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Algeria's government says about 60 foreign hostages are unaccounted for in the standoff with Islamic militants now entering its 3rd day. Officials say more than half the 132 hostages have been freed. The report also says special forces have resumed negotiations after an assault at the gas plant in Sahara. A Mauritanian news site that often receives messages from Al-Qaeda-linked militants says the hostage takers in Algeria have offered to trade 2 captive Americans for 2 jailed terror figures in the U.S. One of the 2 masterminded the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. A French national has described how he hid under a bed for 48 hours to escape detection by militants. The top story is that Harmony Gold Mining plans to mothball its mine on Gauteng's far west strand until an agreement with trade unions is reached.